Hey there, this is John from Heroes and Legends, and welcome to this week's edition of Magic the Gathering Market Watch. So overall, it was a pretty stable week in the market, but I do want to take a look at a few things that are going on in Modern, as well as the continued saga with the value of lands in both Standard and Modern. And also, we'll take a closer look at Liliana the Val, which has continued to increase in price and is now the most valuable Planeswalker in existence. Let's look at the top 5 standard cards that have lost value this week first. Coming in at number 5 is Demonic Pact. So it lost 80 cents this week, bringing it down to $6.67. It's played definitely still in standard, but it is starting to feel a little bit fringe. The deck that runs this maybe not as consistent as just some of the other decks out there. So with that being said, with those decks starting to filter to the top of the metagame, this card is going to start to lose a little value. Keep an eye on it, though, post-rotation. Coming in at number 4 is Nissa of Astward Seer. She lost 82 cents, bringing her down to 28.80. I think this is just a case of more copies of her being opened. She is seeing some play, although in the last week it has been less than we saw at the beginning of the metagame shift. However, this card is also going to play well with Landfall, which is going to be a part of Battle for Zendikar, so don't sell these by any means. This card will do quite well, I think. Number 3 is Languish, and it lost 94 cents, bringing it down to $6.49. Languish had a lot of hype around it coming out of the pre-release. It is seeing a lot of standard play. It works great in Abzan decks that have a lot of 5 toughness creatures. It allows you to kind of wipe the board of your opponent's creatures, but not your own creatures, so it's going to continue to see play there. The only reason it's a little soft right now is because it doesn't hurt the Abzan decks, which are very powerful at this point. So it is seeing more play as a sideboard card, but watch for this one again post-rotation when we lose Siege Rhino. Coming in at number 2 is Days Undoing. This one lost $1.09, bringing it down to $9.02, and it just still hasn't found its home. There was an attempt to kind of make it happen in the Turbo Fog deck. That kind of came off as sort of clunky and not as efficient as other ways to mill. So Days Undoing is just kind of sitting there, and I kind of said it last week. It's a very powerful card. Someone just needs to find out where it can work. One viewer had a great idea in the comment section last week about using it along with Affinity in Modern, where you're able to draw a lot of really cheap or even free spells. I think that's a cool idea. I'd like to see how that works out. So there's definitely practical uses for it. Just players need to find it. A lot of people just looked at this card and felt like it's Time Twister, but it's only as powerful as the cards you're drawing. So in Standard, it's certainly Time Twister is just not as powerful as it is in Vintage when you're drawing Mana Acceleration into big Haymaker spells. If you're drawing cards that are a little more fair, this becomes a little more fair of a card. So interesting dynamic with this card. Like I said, it's going to find its home, but keep an eye on it, especially post-rotation. And our number 1 standard card that lost value this week is Liliana, Heretical Healer. So this Liliana lost a little value, $1.33, bringing it down to $22.98. Still seeing play in standard, however, not quite as much as some of the other Planeswalkers, and not quite as much as some of the other even Mythic Rares that are out there right now. Again, this is just kind of a metagame shift. This is still a good Planeswalker. I think I said last week I would expect this to settle somewhere between the $15 and $18 mark for the amount it's being played right now, but again, that could also change post-rotation. Alright, let's talk about the top 5 standard cards that have gained value this week. Coming in at number 5, believe it or not, Flooded Strands. So how about that? A fetch land is going up. It's up 33 cents, up to 1851. And I say this every week. If you don't have your play sets of the Khans fetch lands, you need to get on that. They're just going to go up and up and up. Yeah, they'll go down a little bit when they rotate out of standard for a short period of time before they start increasing again. But by that point, who knows how high they're going to be. These are just getting out of control. If you still don't have your play sets, make sure you get them. Den Protector is coming in at number 4. It gained 35 cents, bringing it to $7.89. This has been doing very well in a variety of standard decks. Don't expect this to go away anytime soon. If you're playing green and standard, there's really no reason not to play this guy. It's basically Eternal Witness, and it's going to be great in the standard environment as long as it's legal. Coming in at number 3 is Bloodstained Mire, and this is another fetch land. This one went up 38 cents, bringing it to $12.43. Number 2 is Tragic Arrogance, and this went up 84 cents, bringing it to $162, just because it combos just so well with Hangerback Walker. So there's decks that play Hangerback Walker. They're going to use this Cataclysm effect to sacrifice it and get their Thopter tokens, and they still come out on top. Will this be a long-term combo in Standard? It remains to be seen, but right now it is kind of the hot combo that people are looking at. And the number 1 biggest mover in Standard, surprise, surprise, is Polluted Delta. Went up 95 cents, and this is now up to $23.65. Not too much more I can say about these Cons Fetch lands. Alright, let's move on to Modern, and let's start off by looking at the top 5 cards that lost value this week. Coming in at number 5 is Verdant Catacombs. This lost $1.37, bringing it down to $61.25. These fetch lands from Zendikar just spiked so hard a couple weeks ago that it's expected that they're going to start coming down a little bit, especially the 2 that increased value the most, and this was one of them. So this is just normal stabilization. It doesn't mean it's going to go back down to a fair price anytime soon. It's probably going to stick between the $50 and $60 mark for quite some time, but it is going to lose a little bit of value that came off that huge spike we saw. Number 4 is Noble Hierarch. This lost $1.85, bringing it down to $40.63. This is the Conflux version in particular, but basically it's losing a little value because Modern Masters 2015 reprinted this at the rare slot. It just got more copies out there for folks, so this is going to take a little bit of a hit, but not much more, and it's going to start creeping back up again. Number 3 is Blood Moon, and we're looking at the 8th edition version this week, and it lost $2, bringing it down to $44.91. Still very valuable, and maybe not the most desirable version of Blood Moon because it is white bordered. Players prefer the black border versions of the card, so that's why this one probably took the biggest hit this week. But again, this is just normal stabilization. About a month ago, or 2 months ago now, Blood Moon has really just kind of saw a huge spike. It's just coming down off of that spike now. Number 2 is Misty Rainforest, and this is the other Zendikar fetch land that gained the most value and is stabilizing now, bringing it down to $65. It lost $3.19. Same story as Verdant Catacomb. Don't panic. This will go down a few more dollars, but it's not going to go down that far before it starts increasing all over again. And the number 1 card in Modern to see the biggest drop was Tarmogoyf. In particular, we're looking at the 2 Modern Masters versions. The original Modern Masters took the biggest hit, losing $4.30, bringing it down to $180.20, whereas the Modern Masters 2015 version lost $2.36, bringing it down to $155. A couple things are going on here. First off, just a lot of hype around Tarmogoyf, especially when Modern Masters 2015 came out. Now, the best Tarmogoyf, I think, out there for players aesthetically is the original Modern Masters version. The new one, of course, is the same card, but there were a lot of factory defects with those cards. People are a little shy to pick those up over the original one, but the original one just started getting priced so high that players are just going to bite the bullet and either get a Future Sight copy or a Modern Masters 2015 copy to put in their decks. So that's why we're seeing a pretty substantial loss to the original Modern Masters version. The new Modern Masters version lost a few dollars because they're still being opened, and there's still a good amount of product out there that you can still get booster boxes for about $200. So Tarmogoyf will probably still continue to go down. It's also not seeing as much play as it was seeing previously in the modern format, which is another reason this will go down a little bit. It's still a very iconic card, and collectors and players want copies of it, so it's not going to go down that far, but this is probably more of a $140 to $150 card than it is a $180 or even $155 card at this point. So keep an eye on this one. It may continue to lose some value. Let's go ahead and look at the top 5 modern cards that have gained value this week. Coming in at number 5 is Ether Vial, and this is the original Modern Masters version. It went up 45 cents, bringing it up to $39.19. It's seeing a ton of play in Modern with basically any tribal deck, and it's going to continue to be hot. Number 4 is Glimmer Void, and this increased 45 cents, bringing it up to $23.75. And this is just seeing play in your Artifact Affinity decks, your Robots decks, and it's going to continue to be here for a while. If you don't have copies of this, it might be a good time to pick these up. Coming in at number 3 is Sword of Fire and Ice. This one up 76 cents, bringing it up to 56.26. Not too much I can say about this. It's just the best sword printed, so it sees the most play in Modern. You'll notice we've seen a lot of strong artifacts in the top 5 so far, and that trend's going to continue. Coming in at number 2 is Arcbound Ravager. And again, here's another huge affinity staple. This one in particular is the Dark Steel version. It went up 88 cents, bringing it up to $44.81. And our number 1 card that increased this week in Modern is Liliana of the Val. So she went up $1.20, bringing her up to $98.50. So she's basically a $100 card now. When you look at other Planeswalkers, the closest one being Jace the Mind Sculptor, he's valued now around $92. So yeah, Jace is second now to Liliana. Liliana is the most expensive Planeswalker. Now basically the main reason for that is of course Jace the Mind Sculptor is not legal in Modern because it's banned, so it's just one less format that can use that card. Liliana gets play in basically just about any format, so without that restriction, she's just going to go up in value more so than Jace, even though you could argue that Jace is probably the stronger card, but Liliana does have a lot of versatility. So there you have it. Those are our movers for the week. Like I said at the beginning, if you look at the prices, there weren't huge shifts like we saw in the previous number of weeks in the market watch. For the most part, these were small shifts in pricing, which is good. It's good to see a little bit of stability finally start to come around. And part of that is because the meta game is sort of solidifying now around the previous set release. I'm sure we'll see more fireworks as we get closer to more Battle for Zendikar spoilers, but for right now things are relatively calm. So as always, hey, thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe. If you haven't checked out our Patreon page, please do so. We'll have a link at the end of the video. You can check out some of the Patreon exclusive giveaways that we do at certain tiers, up to and including a box of Magic cards from any standard set. So having said that, have a great day. Hey, thanks as always for watching. These videos are made possible by viewers just like you through Patreon. Please check out our Patreon page by clicking on the top right. Down below, we have more links to quality Magic the Gathering content. And if you're interested in seeing trading cards open that aren't Magic the Gathering, check out the link to our trading card channel, Heroes and Legends Trading Cards. Thanks and have a great day.